What's up everyone, this is Alex and welcome back to Heroic Elite Comics. Today we're diving into Absolute Flash. This story is packed with intrigue, and one of the most exciting aspects is that Wally West takes center stage as the main Flash. Many fans were disappointed when Barry Allen became the primary Flash in the New 52. But that's no longer an issue here. Wally is back in the spotlight and it's a refreshing change. Another fascinating element of this story is that it introduces us to a younger version of Wally, around 15 years old. At this point, he already has his powers, but he hasn't yet learned how to control or harness them. There's no mentor to guide him, which is a significant departure from the Wally we know from the main DC universe. For those familiar with Wally's history, this setup carries a lot of weight, and we'll explore its importance as the story unfolds. The narrative kicks off a few days prior to the main events, and we quickly get a sense of who this version of Wally is. He's portrayed as a loner, which is a stark contrast to the more outgoing and confident Wally from the traditional DC continuity. This Wally has his quirks and unique traits, but he's not the type to constantly prove himself or seek validation. In the past, particularly during the Mike Baron run after Crisis on Infinite Earths and into Mark Waid's iconic Flash series, Wally's character was defined by his struggle to prove he was every bit as capable as Barry Allen, both to himself and to those around him. But this version of Wally is different. He's more isolated, doing his own thing without the need to measure up to anyone. Wally does have a family, and we'll get to that shortly, but his inner monologue reveals a darker side. He talks about feeling completely alone, saying,
"I knew it was only a matter of time. Things had been okay for a little while, but I could feel it coming on again. It always starts in my stomach. Like this terrible, low-level, uneasy feeling that begins to spread, and then I know it's starting again. The racing thoughts, the obsessive overthinking. She used to catch it early. She used to make me relax, help me calm down, but she's gone. It's just me now. I don't need anyone else anyway. In the end, we're all alone. Other people just mess everything up. When it's just me, I have control. Total control."
This passage highlights Wally's hyper-independence, which isn't inherently negative, but can become problematic if it leads to isolation or emotional struggles. Coupled with his anxiety, it paints a picture of a young man grappling with internal turmoil. This portrayal of Wally is particularly compelling because it resonates with the challenges many young people face today: heightened levels of anxiety, stress, and a feeling of being lost in the world. By combining these elements, the story creates a version of Wally who is deeply relatable, even as he navigates the extraordinary circumstances of being a superhero. Eventually, Wally returns to Fort Fox, a military base where his father works. As he arrives, a couple of guards warn him, "Hey man, you know your dad's going to kill you for being out this late." Shortly after, Barry Allen appears. This is where the story diverges from the traditional DC lore. In the main DC universe, Wally's origin story closely mirrors Barry's. He's struck by lightning, doused with chemicals, and gains super speed, eventually discovering that his idol, the Flash, is actually his uncle, Barry Allen. They form a mentor-mentee relationship, and Wally becomes Kid Flash. After Barry's presumed death during Crisis on Infinite Earths, Wally takes up the mantle of the Flash. However, in Absolute Flash, their relationship is different. There's no familial connection between Wally and Barry isn't the forensic scientist we know from the main continuity. Instead, he's a scientist working at Fort Fox, and his dynamic with Wally is more casual and friendly. Barry says, "Look man, we'll keep this between us, but do you want to see something really cool? Do you want to see what we're working on?" Intrigued, Wally agrees, and Barry takes him to a facility where they're working on Project Olympus. Barry asks Wally, "Did your dad tell you anything about what we're working on here at Fort Fox?" Wally replies, "No. You know, he and I don't really talk about his work. In fact, we don't really talk about anything at all. Ever since Mom died, he and I don't have a whole lot in common." Barry empathizes, saying, "I mean, my dad and I are basically the same way." He then leads Wally into a room and reveals Project Olympus. Wally asks, "What are you working on down here?" Barry explains, "Project Olympus is something I can't tell you everything about, but we're working on the very razor's edge of physics and biology. I'm not going to lie, it's the military, so the mandates are obviously weapons, development, and so on, but it's only the beginning. Where we can go from here is limitless. This is groundbreaking stuff." The mention of Project Olympus is intriguing, as it seems to reference elements from DC's broader mythology, but I believe it's more likely a nod to Earth 2. In the New 52's Earth 2 series, the original Trinity, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman die, and a new generation of heroes rises to take their place. Jay Garrick, the Flash of that universe, gains his powers through an encounter with Mercury, the Roman equivalent of Hermes. This connection adds depth to the story as it ties Wally's journey to the larger DC multiverse. As the story progresses, Wally's strained relationship with his father, Rudy, becomes more apparent. Rudy is a military man, and his interactions with Wally are tense. When Barry suggests that Wally could work with him part-time, Rudy shuts it down, saying, "Actually, I won't." It's clear that Rudy is concerned for Wally's safety, especially given the dangerous nature of Project Olympus. He tells Barry, "Civilians are not permitted in here, you know that." Barry tries to defuse the situation, but Rudy remains firm, telling Wally to go home. The next day, we see a softer side of Rudy. He explains to Wally that while he can't share all the details of his work, he wants Wally to understand the risks involved. He says, "What's being done in Project Olympus is incredibly dangerous, and you being a part of it puts you in danger. This is my job, but it's also my job to keep you safe." Wally, however, lashes out, frustrated by his father's overprotectiveness. At 15, he's full of teenage angst, craving independence, but unwilling to accept the responsibilities that come with it. He says, "At least Barry shows some interest in me. At least he sees potential in me." In a moment of anger, Wally storms out, saying, "If Mom were still alive, we'd have both left you a long time ago." Wally returns to Fort Fox, where he finds Barry in the middle of an experiment. Barry shouts at him, "Get away! Get out of here! Run as fast as you can!" This leads to a pivotal moment where Wally's powers begin to manifest uncontrollably. He's being chased by the Absolute Universe version of the Rogues, a modernized and updated take on Flash's classic villains. Captain Cold and Boomerang look particularly impressive, and their presence adds excitement to the story. As Wally runs, he struggles to control his powers, and his inner turmoil comes to the surface. He thinks, "Calm down. Breathe, Wally. Just breathe. You've messed everything up. This is all your fault. You can run all you want, but it'll never be far enough. You know what you did." The story takes a darker turn as Wally recalls reaching out to Barry during the experiment, only to realize that Barry is dead, seemingly killed by Wally. The details of how and why this happened remain unclear, but it adds a layer of tragedy to Wally's character. The story concludes with a mysterious figure accessing the Project Olympus archives using the password Blue Trinity. This is a fascinating reference to DC's history. In the comics, Blue Trinity and Red Trinity were Soviet superhero teams, each consisting of 3 members. The Blue Trinity was designed to defeat the Flash, while the Red Trinity was meant to aid him. This callback adds depth to the story, connecting it to the broader DC mythology. Now, as the computer retrieves the archives, we see footage of Barry's experiment and Wally's first encounter with his powers. The narrative hints that some time has passed between the experiment and Barry's death, though Wally hasn't changed much. The mysterious figure, revealed to be Mirror Master, delivers the chilling line, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, time to make this whole world fall," setting the stage for future conflicts. While the first issue of Absolute Flash doesn't quite have the same gravitas as other Absolute comics, it's still a strong start. Jeff Lemire's storytelling never disappoints, and I'm excited to see where this series goes. With its unique take on Wally West, compelling character dynamics, and ties to DC's rich history, Absolute Flash promises to be an engaging and thought-provoking read. That's it for now, everyone. Thanks for watching, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Catch you all later.